Let's get a little awkward this morning. There is a lot of controversy over the new Disney movie Turning Red. The main character is a 13-year-old girl who wakes up as a big red panda one morning, but the whole thing is a metaphor for puberty. I know in my whole household, it brought up some topics I didn't think we were ready to tackle. So in this week's Mom Squad, I talked to child psychologist Dr. Ramirez with MetroHealth about what age is appropriate and how to handle that discussion.
So I get this question a lot, actually, and it's not only puberty, but also things related to changes in body, things like, sexuality, just all along the spectrum of things that aren't always really comfortable conversations to have. And a lot of it goes back to how we were raised ourselves too. What I will say is start to have conversations in a developmentally appropriate way as early as you need to. Sometimes children will walk into a bathroom and they'll see perhaps some sort of sanitary, female sanitary item. And they may ask a question about it, right? They might be 3-4 years old. And that seems to some parents really early to have to talk about things. However, especially if it's a little girl, you can use really appropriate language like, oh, that's something that mommy uses. Or if you're a father, that's something, that's something that your mommy uses.
Well, Dr. Ramirez had a lot of great advice on how to approach the subject, what language to use, and why it's important to have those conversations early. Not only did I take her advice, but Holly Strano and I talk all about it on this week's Mom Squad podcast, where you can download anywhere you get your podcasts. But I shared a little bit on the podcast how this forced my hand. I mean, this was what the controversy is about. It brings up the topic. My oldest is only 8. I mean, in terms of the talk, I mean, that's young.
Right.
So we didn't get into a lot of it. But this movie brought up a subject that she knew she didn't realize what was going on. She knew that there was something she didn't know about, so she had some questions. And so I took Dr. Ramirez's advice. We kind of dipped our toe into that talk about what happens, and she had some great resources to use. I don't know if this is happening in your family, or maybe you've turned on Turning Red and you didn't realize what was happening, because what happened with me is I'm doing dishes, I'm running around the house, they're busy watching a movie, and I didn't realize they brought up these subjects until they watched it a couple of times.
Well, and you have all girls.
Yeah.
I mean, this goes for dads too, and
Yes.
my oldest is a girl, and we've had to have these discussions. And I loved so many of the things that she said, that there is no appropriate age, so to speak. You know what I mean?
You know best.
You do
with
know.
your kids.
You do know. And the other thing that I thought of was, you don't want them to be at school scared because something happens, and they're not aware.
And she made the great point of, you want to be the one to tell them.
Right.
You want to be the one to have that talk first before they go to their friends and find out information, because she kind of implied, like, once they go to their friends and get that information, they're not coming back to you. They know that you hid something. They know that you weren't talking to them about a subject.
And there's other shows and movies that have dealt with this, but it's the fact that Disney, you thought,
animated
or many
movie,
people would think that
cartoon.
this one
Hey,
would not be it.
I'm going to bring it up again. I'm sure you weren't reading Judy Blume books, but, back in the day, I mean, that was the thing. And I'll never forget reading Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret. And they do address that topic.
Yeah. I think it's just a good heads up, too, because, like, even with my mom sitting down and watching, I warned her, like, hey, if they ask for this movie, be prepared for this moment.
Right. No.
So
such great conversations. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Weather. That's what they're saying.
Yes.
It's the weather.
You don't want to talk about this?
Right.
Well,
Is this awkward? I think we navigated that awkward topic pretty well.
Well, I was invited to the podcast, but I had to decline. I apologize.
No, really,
I know
all good
I would have
stuff.
brought so much insight to that.
Maureen, I'm glad you brought it all up. Dave, well, it's dads too.